Hey there guys, are you worried about being creepy with women? Do you worry that when you try and talk to a woman that people around you are gonna see that and judge you? Well, this video is for you, so watch right until the end and I'll explain how you can stop being seen as being creepy. Hi there, my name's Tim and I'm from LoveOpenly, and my job is basically to help a man get into a relationship with a woman and also how to get your mojo back. And that's what this channel is about. And I often see that there's a lot of men that I work with, there's a lot of men that I talk to, and they often talk about this idea of being seen as creepy. And you know, it's not surprising because on the internet, online, you always see women talking about this. You always see women saying, oh, this creepy guy, that creepy guy did this sort of thing. So it's natural that you're gonna worry about this yourself, right? And what I wanna say on this video, first of all, is that the chances is that you are probably not really that creepy. And there's reasons for this, right? Because there's two kinds of men, essentially. There's men that don't care whether they're creepy or not, and those men are not watching this video because they don't need to, because they're not interested in learning about social skills or how men and women interact. They just don't care. They're going to do what they want to do at the expense of everyone else, and that's not you because you're watching this. So then there's the other kind of guy who isn't sure if he's being creepy or isn't sure what he is doing might or might not be perceived as creepy. So let's talk a bit about that. I think that you know, there's different scenarios where you want to talk to a woman, right? It might be in the street, it might be in the offline world, or it might be in the online world. And the question is how do you interact with a woman in such a way that things go well, things go smoothly, and she doesn't have that kind of triggered feeling where she doesn't feel safe with you, right? And I think that really comes down to kind of a bit of the science of what is creepiness. And I did look this up, and there isn't really any specific metric or factor on what makes somebody creepy. Really, it's a long list of things. But the way to generally look at it is that we kind of have social norms, ways that we just generally interact and behave with each other. And if you do things that step outside of that, then that creates, it's like we have a creepiness radar, all of us, like men and women. And if that gets triggered, if you do something that's a little bit not quite normal, then somebody will think, well, what's going on here? And if it's a woman, then she's gonna maybe worry and she's gonna be like, I need to get away from this person. So the question is how do you stay within that social framework, that social normality? And the answer to that is basically that you are already doing that, you know, because you care about what other people think about you. And actually, that's the issue here. It's that you are oversensitive to how people see you. You're oversensitive to what the woman thinks. And so you're afraid of stepping outside of that. You're afraid of speaking your mind. You're afraid of saying what you're feeling. And that can actually, in some cases, create the creepiness. For example, say you see a woman in the street and she's amazing, she's attractive, and you would love to talk to her. And then you decided that today's the day that you're actually going to try and do that. So what happens is you begin and you're like, right, I'm going to do it. And then you start making that move. And then hesitation happens and you're like, and thoughts start happening and you're like, what's going on here? But you're trying to deal with that. You're like, I want to talk to this girl. You're compelled to do it. So you're fighting with yourself to make sure that you can talk to her, right? So internally, there's a lot of work going on there when you're doing that. But from the outside, from her perspective, what does that look like? It looks like somebody's sort of, you know, being a bit strange, being a bit weird. And they look at that, they don't know what's going through your head. They don't know what you're trying to do. So what do they think? Radar is triggered, it's creepy, right? So how do you deal with that? There's different ways that you can deal with it. So the first thing is, one way of dealing with it is if you see somebody and you want to talk to them and you get stuck, then just move on, right? You either missed your chance, or you can walk away and then come back and try again another time, right? If it's somebody that you see regularly. That's one way of dealing it, and one way of making sure that you don't trigger that creepiness. The other thing that you can do is you can verbalize and talk about what you're trying to do. So if you feel anxious, if you try and make the move on the girl and you feel anxious, say that. Say, I feel really nervous doing this, but, and then continue on and try and have that conversation. And that's totally fine, right? You're not triggering that radar. You're within the realms of what's socially acceptable. Now, you might feel a little bit embarrassed, but that's okay. That's something that you can work on. But she's not going to be triggered. She's not going to feel creepy about that. And actually, there's a lot of women out there that are totally okay with a guy being embarrassed, but still wanting to talk to her because he wants to talk to her. That's totally fine. Obviously, if she says no, move on, right? So that's one aspect of the creepiness. Now, there's another aspect of being creepy, and that's, you often see this online, you often see women talking about it, and that's men who stare at women, right? You're staring at the woman like this, and the eye contact is just really strange, right? It's not socially normal, it's not socially acceptable. But are you going to be doing that? No, not at all, right? That's not something that you do ever. If anything, what you're probably doing is avoiding staring at women, right? So we can see right away that you're probably not that creepy and you're worrying about this, but actually what you need to do is to reduce your sensitivity to pushing yourself out there and trying to work on these social aspects more rather than less. So you can see how it's probable that you've twisted this a little bit and you're worrying so much about what others are thinking about you that you can no longer actually do what you want to do in the world. And so this is why you're probably not creepy, and this is why you have to have a little bit more courage. And this also applies online. You need to try out new things when you talk to a woman. If she doesn't like it, she'll tell you, right? But if you continue on when she says she doesn't like it, this is another aspect of creepiness. When the woman doesn't give you consent to do what you're doing, and you just ignore that and you keep going anyway, right? And again, you're not the kind of man that's going to do that, so you don't need to worry about that, okay? So the last thing that could come across as creepy is if you're getting up close and personal with the person, with the woman, and then not honoring sort of what's normally acceptable, in your particular location, in your society and culture. And it's different in every country what is acceptable of how close you can be, right? If you're in Latin America, it's perfectly fine to be touchy and feely. If you're in America, it's less acceptable, right? And it's different in every country in the world. But the thing is, the thing that rings true in every single culture is if you get close to that woman and you stay there when she's not accepting of it, then that's creepy, right? So how do you deal with that? Well, you get close and then back off, right? It's as simple as that. It's what you would do with your friends, right? You're not going to get up close and personal in your friend's face and then not leave them alone, unless you're trying to tease them or something. And that's okay, if you have that kind of friendship, if you've built that kind of trust. But with a new woman that you're talking to, you haven't yet. So you have to honor those social things. And again, as I'm saying, you're probably already doing that, okay? So the basic message from this video is you're probably not being creepy, certainly not as much as you think, but you have to work on this fear that you have of people judging you, right? And that's something that I do. If you're interested in improving this aspect of your life, if you're interested and you want to get that girlfriend, then I'm here to help you. I run a group called The Guild. I do one-on-one coaching, and I also have a program of how to get a girlfriend. And these are all things I can help you with. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then please do get in touch with me. You can do that at loveopenly.net/call. And there you can book a call with me, get on the phone with me, and I'll start to figure out what's your situation and how I can help you to move to where you want to go. Okay, so I hope you liked this video. I hope that you got something out of it, and I will see you on the next one.